episode 499 of the TV Dudes, recorded August 8th, 2024. Batman, Caped Crusader. This week, we're watching the 90s Batman cartoon, I guess, in case you never saw it or something.
Yeah, that's not it.
What? Oh, okay. Oh, right. We're discussing The Batman.
Nope, not again.
Beware the Batman.
One more time.
Batman Beyond.
Oh, Jesus. Did you watch the right thing?
We'll find out. In the meantime, I'm Les.
No, but seriously, did you watch it?
I mean, probably so.
I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. And this week, we're back with a TV tune-in question.
TV Dudes, tune in. What did we tune in with this? Oh, it was marathons this week, correct?
That's right. Let's take a movie-watching journey. We asked everybody to name 3 films that you think would make an interesting, fun, or thematically cool marathon.
Okay.
Bonus points if you got pun-based phrasing. We'll take the best and maybe give them a watch over on the Patreon.
Okay.
And then post our thoughts. So for some examples, I threw out Tatum Damn Near Killed Him, which would be, a selection of 3 Channing Tatum films.
So this is us just basically trying to workshop, like we were
Absolutely.
we were trying to figure out like what should our Patreon be? Like so
Absolutely.
now so we're outsourcing our
Yes,
Patreon idea.
I believe crowdsourcing is the term. The Oliver Platter, which would be 3 Oliver Platt movies plus your choice of a side and drink. Or you could just pick an overall theme and put 3 movies together, like Kids in Charge. Do Wild in the Streets, Kidco, and Taps.
Okay.
Or Swimming in Tooch.
Yeah.
Which would be,
Sure.
Big Night and The Imposters and let's say one of the Hunger Games.
I always like to do like back-to-back movies. I like do back-to-back I do the 2 Robin Hoods that I like the Robin Hood, the
Robin's Hood.
The Robin's Hood, the Edgerton one
Mm-hmm,
that I find just unbelievably fascinating.
Right. With the arrow guns.
Yeah.
They're fucking awesome.
I mean that's before they call them the airstrike.
That's
right. You forgot they did that.
I
Didn't you?
forgot they did that. That's right.
Easy to forget, considering it probably shouldn't happen.
Wholly anachronistic.
But then also the Kevin Costner one.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes but I think if I were to make it a 3 movie, I would make that Robin Hood Men in Tights as well.
Yeah.
That would be Robin's Hood would be my pitch.
Dennis McElwain said he'd call it Taking Off. We'd do 0 Hour followed by Airplane, and then the finish would be Midnight Run, which ends at an airport.
Yeah, I mean, Midnight Run seems a little technicality based, but 0 Hour is actually just Airplane.
Right, 0 Hour into Airplane.
That's right.
It's
you
like
haven't
watching
watched...
No, but it's like watching the riff tracks of its own movie, watching those back to back, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know why, but I remember finding 0 Hour on some sort of like when we paid for like Shout Factory or some channel or
Night
whatever.
Flight or some shit.
Yeah, and it was on there, and I was like, holy shit, this looks like, and I looked it up, and it was basically like Airplane's based on a bunch of different.
Right, but heavily just 0
But heavily
hour.
0, like the plot.
Down to the pilots getting food poisoning and all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, watching Airplane without the jokes is odd because you get to see it and it's not funny. You almost see why someone watched it and went, "Oh man, if we cranked it up a little bit, this would be really funny." And really watchable.
My brain was, I want to call it Amish Airplane. Like you made an Amish comedy.
I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Man, Lloyd Bridges just crushes in that fucking movie.
All right, let's take some pictures, boys.
So Jean-Paul Vital really got into this question. He said,
Dude, I saw a bunch of fucking answers.
Oh, yeah. Messy ladies of the 2020s. These women be messy, y'all. Sick Girl, Drugstore June, and Cora Bora. I've not seen any of those.
But that's not surprising from our good old JPV.
We also got Cassie Vettis, Slackavettis, and Nick, which would be husbands. Hannah Takes the Stairs and God is a Bullet. Again, I've not seen any of those. John Paul Vitale would also say one Cronenberg, one Madden, one McDonald, which would be a Canadian starter pack, eh? Scanners.
Like the poutine of our against our Oliver Platter.
Poutine our money where I can't even finish that. I'm sorry. I apologize. That would be Scanners, Brand Upon the Brain, and Hardcore Logo. I have seen those. Those are great. John Paul Vidal also says, I'm not entirely sure what else, but I would definitely show Harold Zwarf's One Night at McCool's. Like, seriously, do you need 2 other movies after that? Just show that 3 times in a row. Follow it up with a classic cartoon like Cool McCool.
So I'm not young. I'm younger than you and Randy and most of the youngest TV dude ever, apparently. But I just had a D&D session with a crew that was 10 years younger than me that didn't know what the movie The Rock was.
Which Rock movie?
Yeah, like which Rock movie? He's done several. Man, fuck you, you fucking heathens.
Like the original Walking Tall with The Rock? No.
Losers complain about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Oh, I saw that in the theater. God, it was
solid line. Like,
it was so good. Oh man.
But yeah, so I don't know any of these.
VX nerve gas. Like we were all with the green balls and the chains. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
So needless to say, why do I not know like half of these movies he's mentioning? Like I get not of the fact that I haven't seen them. I don't know what he's talking about. Like what's a Cool McCool?
That seems like an obscure cartoon. Like I kind of want to go look all these up.
I feel like that's McGruff the Crime Dog's like non-drug like skateboarder cousin, or like Joe Camel, like if he had like a old McDonald redneck cousin.
Animated Saturday morning cartoon that ran on NBC September of '66 to January of '67.
A '60s cartoon.
Yeah, he looks like something between a secret agent and a pervert.
Oh, wow, that mustache is not helping. Oh, that mustache does not help anyone.
Like, I hope no crimes that he's investigating are anywhere near a school.
Oh! Double O. C-double-O. C-double-O-L. C-double-O-L Mac. Cool Mac Cool. Danger is his business.
We accidentally started one of these marathons.
That's true.
A little bit this week. We didn't watch 0 Hour, but we did watch Airplane last night. I threw on Airplane randomly. I'd read something about Leslie Nielsen having a fart machine that he set off constantly during the thing, and it got me in the mood to watch Airplane. But let's go over and see what else we watched on the Diaries.
Sure. Well, speaking of like, Airplane mostly holds up except for there's a rampaging flaming gay man in the control room
for no reason other than that joke. Like a lot of the stuff he says doesn't. It's
all
just
of non sequitur.
Yeah, it's just there to be insane. Like to be zany. Yeah. He's probably remarkably like one of the few things that doesn't. Otherwise, it is a million. Like you said, we're gonna throw a million jokes at the wall. I'm not even saying most of them are gonna stick. We know this.
I can guarantee you will like at least a couple of these.
Right.
Because the sheer volume. The Dr. Mayo Clinic. Like that started that phone call and it's just doing exposition up until like, oh, I'm sorry, we have Dr. Ham on the other end. Like, okay, well, give me the ham, hold the mayo.
Mm-hmm.
For like the work to get into that pun.
When it already starts out that like he answers the red phone and they're like, well, you have a Mayo Clinic call on the white phone.
Yeah.
And he goes over to the white phone. I'm like, all right, you're reaching for, but that's cute that the Mayo Clinic is a real clinic and the white phone.
Yeah.
And then they cut to the guy in the Mayo Clinic and the wall behind him is just mayonnaise jars. And then the heart. Oh my God. It's so good.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the red zone.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the red zone.
The red zone has always been for loading and unloading. There is never stopping in a white zone.
Don't tell me which zone is for stopping and which zone is for loading.
Listen, Betty, don't start up with your white zone shit again. There's just no stopping in a white zone.
Oh, really, Vernon? Why pretend? We both know perfectly well what it is you're talking about. You want me to have an abortion?
It's really the only sensible thing to do. If it's done properly, therapeutically, there's no danger involved.
We watched some John Olivers this week
Oh man,
with moms protesting libraries. Was that what that was on?
yeah, the library protests, which is, man, that librarian they were interviewing had some great
Oh my God, the look on her
energy
face. Jesus.
of like, so out of the 400 books they want you to ban, how many are actually in the library? None of them. None of them are in the library. I hate my fucking life.
I hate my job. I hate all the parents in my community.
Like she's taking unbelievable shit for what must be a month.
And she says something offhand about like, but they're coming to my house, you know,
Yeah.
gun on their hip, telling me to take a book out of the library that
Just isn't
in the
fucking
library.
there.
Like,
Because why? Because a bunch of like all these lists come down on the internet, so we have to do like.
Yeah.
What else we watched? Oh, dude, we started to watch Prison Break.
oh yeah, we went through with our threat, and I've started watching Prison Break. Prison Break.
That's a great actually replacement for Rookie.
It really is. It really is. I don't feel like it's going to be as wildly up and down each season. I think it's just going to be steadily down.
Yeah.
But the first season's fucking sweet. It is so Fox early aughts.
Whew.
Every time they go to a commercial break, of which there are none because it's on Netflix now,
Dun, 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 dun.
it takes this like speed camera, adrenaline 90s rush through the prison tunnel system in case you forgot we're sneaking out of this place.
And you're like, oh
my God.
Okay.
Calm your tits.
But yeah, the acting's pretty good.
Dude, Wentworth Miller's one groove is so perfect for Michael that like honestly this is the first thing I'd ever seen him in, and I didn't really know, like, it wasn't until I saw him in Captain Cold and some other stuff
like
that I was like,
only had the
oh
one.
that's your move. But he's so good at it, and it's so perfect for Michael.
What I'm impressed with, I think Dominic Purcell is a better actor than
Oh my gosh,
people give him credit for.
He really is.
Like he really has a lot.
His voice is pitched slightly higher here, like not
well,
pitch
this is
shifted.
just a regular voice, I think.
He's not. I didn't realize how much he was doing a voice when he was being Rory.
For Rory, like, yeah, I'm prolific.
He was acting dumber and deeper voiced and gruffer.
Right.
And here he's a lot more of like a, look, man, I know I fucked up, but I didn't do this, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not the genius brother, but he's not like the dumb brother.
Yeah. And he you can believe that he's kind of a nice guy. Yeah. He'll throw everything at you.
Yeah. But yeah, the Sucre early on.
My brain wants to flip that to Socrates.
Socrates. Yo,
Sucre.
Socrates.
No, he's the sweet. He's
You wanna
the,
break
he's
out of this
the
prison, bro?
he's the really sweet guy. He's Sucre.
What's his name? The actor as Theodore Bagwell.
Oh my God.
Teabag.
Yes. Robert Nepper.
Robert Nepper.
Who turns up in Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, that I just watched. He shows up in that for a moment.
Yeah, he's a great
Dude's everywhere.
He's a great character actor. He shows up a lot of like as a heavy, like
Man,
usually a bad guy.
for like a
Peter
2000
Stormare.
Right. 2006. Peter Stormare in here is a Bruzy. He's great, though. Man, 2006. Talk about coming out swinging. Teabag is rapey gross.
Right.
Every step of the way.
Yeah.
And
Keeps calling.
it's so
Wentworth pretty.
Right. Oh, and the pocket thing and the whole, like, he is an abusive guy in the prison. It's a lot. And especially like, I know he stays around them. And if I remember right, they don't like, he's a terrible person. So we also, I kept up, speaking of 22 episode shows, I'm into season 4 of Supernatural, which is the Angel season. So we got Castiel on the show now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The trench coat that launched 1,000
ships. Yep. Season 3 has a bunch of the fun episodes, and like Ben Edlund, like it's when they really start to find their groove on an occasional like silly Supernatural episode. But also into season 4, they keep more of those, but you can see them building towards the 5-season plot that Kripke had planned.
Yeah.
Like they're heading towards like, is Dean going to let Sam go at the end of season 5?
Yeah.
And like when they start season 6, they just have to like, Sam just appears. It becomes the mystery. Like, like they almost bake into the, like, how did this show restart into the show? But it's kind of fun approaching that moment and knowing that like, everything in this feels like we're heading towards a 5th final season, and I know it runs 10 more seasons. Like, man, you ain't even a third of the way in, motherfuckers.
That is man. A lot of other shows have done that where they like, oh, here's our wrap up, and nope, it's come down the pipe. Like we're not.
We're gonna get one more season. Yeah, no.
You know, like, I mean, there's the second season of Lost,
Mhm.
and like
Or that extra season of Scrubs, or
Oh
like,
yeah,
like some things just go, or like I don't know, Buffy did its channel switch.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know that there's anything quite like the rest of your writing team continuing forward for another decade, so that the post Kripke amount of Supernatural is twice the content as the original show.
Oh, we did show each other some 2 different movies this like past week.
Indeed,
So I showed you Little Monsters.
That's right. Which I think I left off my
with Lupita
list.
Nyong'o.
Yes.
And Josh Gad. And this was before, man, this was the year it came out with, like, even the trailer has Academy Award winner Lupita Nyong'o. Because they definitely made this movie before that one.
She is not the main character.
No. like the marketing, despite what the marketing is going to tell you in this movie, she's not the main character.
And this was a movie that almost oversold me in the first act of how much to hate that main character. He's such a schmuck.
Yeah. But by the time the end, you are into
it's great. And also oh man, some of the stunt performers did absolutely stunning work.
Yes.
There's a couple of like slip fall hits where Josh Gad's character just fucking eats it. And the camera work or the stunt work or a combination of the two, like they are beautiful pratfalls.
He falls off the roof a couple times. He goes into that
trying to climb up the table to go out the hatch in the center of the building, and he
lands square on his back.
Oh
on that,
my lord!
Like it's hard to like. I know there's pads and stuff you can wear, but like, man.
Well, and like I would hope that they dressed up part of the floor to be fake pad lower. You know,
sure, but still, it's like that's not fake. A human hit that with their
something.
Back. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's like when you watch somebody get dragged behind a car. Like I don't care if they're on a metal plate. That's still terrifying.
It's like, it's locked. Oh, I have kids out here. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I don't give a shit.
You're going to have to go fuck yourself.
Okay. So you see here, I was here first, so you're going to have to go fuck yourself.
Can we not swear in front of the kids? Fuck you. Man.
Do the laugh.
When she walks, she would do the laugh. Yeah. Oh man.
Little Monsters was great. The fucking laugh.
I had avoided that movie forever because I had mixed it up with Cooties.
Yeah.
Is that Elijah Wood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not as good.
Which is fine. But it's not as good. This was really fun.
Seems to be playing some sort of small guitar. Sir, that's a ukulele, sir! And then you showed me The Last Dragon.
Yes, you got the glow.
Which I had not seen before. But I had heard about it.
I mean, for reasons. It's fine.
This movie sucks. So it's not good. And like, in a way that like in a bad movie, like no, bad movies are fun and I like them or whatever.
No, this is blindingly terrible.
But this is really bad.
Right.
To the fact that where I can't like the first part of this movie where they introduced the Shogun of Harlem.
He's great.
Show Nuff.
Right.
And at a certain point in
his gang.
In the middle part of this movie, I'm like, man, I didn't know I was gonna crave this at some point, but seriously, what is Show Nuff doing right now?
Right, where is he right now?
Like where is he at?
How is like so instead of literally everything else in this movie, we just need Show Nuff to fight the Ninja Turtles. Like with the Foot Clan's put down and this dude is taking over Harlem in their absence.
Am I the most electric character in this movie? Show Nuff. Do you miss me every time I'm not on screen? Show Nuff.
Yeah, every time. And occasionally he'll say something that might be one of those call and responses, but might be rhetorical.
But might be rhetorical. So you see his crew check in with each other.
Oh, they're doing all the work. They're doing all the work in this movie.
Because one time someone said it when they weren't supposed to and said it by themselves and they got fucked up.
And his ultra cool little brother.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. Like every time, like you need one of those two characters on screen at all times. Because otherwise you have Dime Store Bob Hoskins running
yes,
like as one of the half villains in this thing.
As wanting to
with
make his girlfriend's make his girlfriend's music video. What actually was that movie about?
Who can tell? Like Break Into Electric Boogaloo is at least about saving a rec center. But like I don't know what this is about. But he does eventually come to understand what his master tells him for the entire movie, which is you've learned everything I can teach you, fucking leave.
You're fucking pissing me off.
And he's like, what? But then I will go find that. And like, I do love that the movie opens with his master just finally realizing the kid's not going to get this.
Yeah.
And to like, like, okay, fine. You got to go find a master named some dumb guy, and like, here, take this fucking belt buckle, and
finds that fortune cookie place,
Right.
and with a bunch of Asian characters that are doing black
still
accents.
not sure.
But he's
But he's the like
Bruce
the least
Leroy
right
is dressed up in like
with
a
the
coolie,
hat.
like
Oh my God.
outfit. So I'm like, I guess, is it dueling hate crimes? Do they like
Like,
cancel each other
I don't
out?
know if this cancel. I don't know if it's constructive or destructive interference here. Like, does this cancel out, or
So
does
if they're
this make
both
it worse?
racist toward the equal amount of racist towards each other, is this fine?
Right.
Like, is this not offensive,
Right.
or is this uber offensive?
I cannot tell. Yeah, but it is. It's produced by Motown, which would lead you to believe that it
Dude,
would
the
at
music
least
sucks.
be a good soundtrack, and it's not. It is the worst music.
It's the worst, most generic, made for this movie music.
They are ad lib. It's not like the songs are written about the scenes. They are ad libbing it, like, and then he walks down the street. You would swear it's a College Humor bit if it weren't.
Trying to
He's gonna find the
master,
Oh yeah, the master.
believing in himself.
Yeah, it is straight up. You keep waiting for a character to turn around and like, what is that?
I'm not sure if it was John Oliver led us to, or if the YouTube track we took led us to John Oliver, but we were watching some more Jenny Nicholson.
Yes, so
Like, you watched the one for Ready Player One.
yes, and then you watched the one where she read Trigger Warning.
Right, like she reads bad books.
Yeah, which is
in
just
life,
great.
which is pretty great.
It's so great.
But that led us to like a suggestion on YouTube. It led us to Philosophy Tube,
Which had you seen before?
I had not seen
Okay.
before.
I didn't know if that was a channel that you had watched in the past or what. I had not seen it before. So Philosophy Tube is a woman in England doing a bunch of like really good, like hour and a half long explainer videos using her actual university degree in philosophy
Yeah,
to explain any number of difficult topics that actually have some research that could be put into them, like gentrification and city structure and 15-minute cities and things like that, legal history of law, kind of how did laws form kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
All things that benefit not just from her actual education, but also just the kind of stuff you learn in college of how to construct a research argument.
Right.
Like they're very well constructed with, take you through a topic with a good conclusion. Incredibly well produced. They're on something called Nebula mostly.
Yeah,
But we watched them on
you
YouTube.
watched it on YouTube.
But those were great. I watched the one on gentrification. We started out. You had the one on AI. Is ethical AI possible?
Yeah,
And that was interesting and eye opening and clarified some stuff. The one on gentrification was fucking rad. You also watched the one on law.
yeah. And I watched the one on altruism or ethical altruism of like how rich. It was a tutorial for how rich people to get rid of their money. She has a great way of making you see the certain sides of things, of like the law, making the law, like sometimes the law is there to get rid of choice so that we can make decisions as a society and arbitrate disputes through a rule book, so nothing is personal and nothing is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's supposed. Ideally, that's how it's supposed to work. But we live in a society, and all the stuff she talks about, AI, everything, is like. But the problem is we apply those things to an ideal society that's perfect.
No,
which we will never
like
have.
it's like learning chemistry in high school with platonic solids. That's not how the world works.
So that just isn't how the world is. So we have to. The law will brush up against something where sometimes someone will have to make a choice,
Mhm.
like a judge or a Supreme Court, or someone will have to choose how a thing gets resolved. The system itself is not normally the problem. It's the people not willing to change the system at all,
right.
or acknowledge that we make like the emotion will come into it. Like there's not.
Yeah, things aren't adjudicated by machine. Like it. Yeah.
I think it was fascinating as she brought up phantasms, and I thought you and I were like, oh shit, that kind of like.
And she goes into the philosophical concept behind how people hold to opposing viewpoints and why.
And
Like,
man, I've never.
There's so many things. I mean, she does it. I do it. You do it. Everybody is susceptible to it. But it's how you hold a conflicting thing that you don't really want to think about because it might challenge a core belief about yourself or something that you feel is structural.
Yeah, it's almost a self-defense mechanism.
It is.
For your psyche or your
Yourself.
philosophy. Yeah. I always was wondering about that, and she's the first person to really lay it down in a way that I fully understand why people do it.
Right. And that I love her point of like repeatedly that like if these two opposing points made sense together, it wouldn't work as well. That like it's actually to make a dissonance so that you don't think about it to clarify it. Yeah. Philosophy Tube is great. She ends up explaining the phantasm thing in almost every video that I saw, which is because it comes up again and again.
It's one of those things that apparently is basically how a society works.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, societies are going to run up against paradoxes of like
well, we believe in this one thing, but also not in these cases.
Yeah.
Inevitably, that's how the world's messy.
Yeah.
So like, how are you striding about both? Because we are somehow.
I don't, I've never studied philosophy.
No, it's a fascinating channel. I can't wait to watch more videos.
Absolutely, like maybe more people should. Honestly,
right. Yeah, the one on Judith Butler, which is where a lot of gender theory comes from, was fucking fascinating. But yeah, Philosophy Tube, I would recommend. Literally any video buyer. Fantastic, cool outfits, well produced, well structured, great stuff.
Also, there's for me, like for finishing out my TV diaries, apparently you know how Amazon Prime has just a running, like they had a Farscape channel that you could just run it. It's just running all the time. Basically kind of sort of mimicking cable or whatever, but like it has like, you have a Farscape channel that just runs constantly. It's this live Farscape. There's a TMNT channel. There's of the old cartoons.
Oh shit, okay.
Running on.
Oh god, yeah.
And you caught me watch some of those.
Oh, is that where you were? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know where you found all those.
Which is why I couldn't pause them when you were talking to me.
Oh, that sucks.
Because they're live. Like
I didn't realize that. That's not a thing anymore. It's weird.
Watching the mutant cow episode. I had that one on VHS, making me realize that like because you would watch Street Sharks the first episode at some point, and I was like, no, Ninja Turtles is better than some of these.
It is. Street Sharks it's not good. It's insane, and it's fun to watch them chomp through the street. But it's you can see why like there's an original that works somehow, and then there's all these ripoffs that are at varying degrees of lesser, but all lesser.
Yeah. Like
speaking of lesser, we also watched Destroy All Neighbors.
Oh man, I was wondering. I was actually hoping we wouldn't talk about it because honestly,
we're not going to talk about it long. It has Alex Winter's involvement. We were very excited about it. It looks like a spiritual sequel to Freaked, which was great.
I love Bill and Ted, man.
And Freaked was insane.
And Freaked was honestly when you said that, like, oh, this was supposed to be like the honorary
sequel or whatever,
sequel to Freaked or however they put it.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, I'm kind of in, and no, this doesn't. This doesn't deserve to be in the same mention as Freaked.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like,
no, it other than having the same kind of gross out prosthetic on the neighbor for no reason.
Dude, the neighbor isn't a fucking vampire or monster.
No,
he just wears a bunch of prosthetics.
He's just a dude.
So I think he might just be offensive.
Yeah, I think he's just a gross immigrant dude.
I think the only reason he's not offensive is I don't know where he's from.
Right.
Like, I don't know what that accent's from, and I don't.
He's from the villain from a Popeye cartoon. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. No, we were not happy with Destroy All Neighbors.
Dude, Jonah Ray.
We just kept thinking of better. Like Dave Made a Maze is a better version of this movie. The Voices with Ryan Reynolds is a better version of this movie.
Yeah.
This is not a good version of this movie.
No. Well,
but at least he finished his album, Nick.
It was this, and then Jonah Ray was in that shitty Santa Claus Killer Santa Claus robot movie. Remember that?
Yes.
Jonah Ray is not having a fun career after MST3K.
No.
Like, I have not seen him in one good thing since then.
Man, yeah. No, that was bad.
Is there anything else on our diaries?
Yeah, let's see. I watched the two Jack Reacher movies, which
that's right.
I had not watched since watching Alan Ritchson be Reacher, and man, the movies really do get the character right. The only thing wrong with them is that it's being played by like a really tiny dude. It's like when James Gunn has Sean Gunn stand in for like Drax.
Yeah,
that's what's happening here.
Only they don't replace.
Only they just never replaced him.
That's the problem. Is Tom Cruise is just the stand-in that they didn't get
right. If AI is going to do something in movies for me, can it like Tig Notaro style replace?
I think it can.
The Crystalia of Tom Cruise. That's a weird set of things to say. But yeah, the Jack Reacher movies were fucking vicious, and the first one's much better than the second one, but both of them need to be Alan Ritchson. Yeah.
Some of
And then, speaking of Lone Wolf, John Wick style things, I also watched Keanu in The Replacements.
that's right.
With Gene Hackman and John Favreau and Orlando Jones. Very different. And then,
My brother really likes that movie.
oh man, it's a blast. It is very late 90s, early aughts, whenever the fuck that was. And I think that's about it for me.
What separates winners from losers, Les?
The score.
Shit.
It's going to be rough out there. Well, that's why girls don't play the game. Like, really, the movie aged okay. The worst thing about it is the couple of misogynistic, well, football ain't for girls.
Insert Prison Break transition music here.
Yes. Well, now feels like a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over on patreon.com/TV Dudes, you can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content every single week. You're only charged for the bonus episodes, so for $4 a month, if you want to join at the dollar level, you'll get twice the podcast. This week, we're going to talk about Borderlands over in theaters.
Sure.
Or for $5 an episode, you can get your review of a show read on the podcast each week.
Indeed. What did you think about the Caped Crusader that we are about to talk about? Because I guarantee you, it's probably going to be different than us.
Yes, by looking on the internet, it does seem like we are not in step here with everybody else. But
yeah, but that's, Patreon. That's for this weekend. What we're talking about right now is Amazon Prime's Caped Crusader.
Asking the question on everyone's mind these days, what do you think about the Batman?
I'm frightened. This whole city's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Well, he's breaking the law, ain't he? So they ought to catch that freak and lock him up.
I won't say it's gonna be easy, but catching criminals is what we do. So this one dresses up like Dracula, so what? We're gonna take him down. What do we know about this Batman?
He's been beating the tar out of muggers and dope peddlers out there the last few weeks.
He's mostly been seen at night driving that hot rod of his 100 miles an hour.
And now he's even attacking our brave police.
Nice car.
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal. And his time in Gotham is up.
Mischief afoot, sir?
3 explosions in 2 weeks. Peculiar. There's something more going on here.
now you might be thinking Amazon Prime. Don't you mean HBO Max's Caped Crusader? And we do not.
No, this is one of the many projects that got canceled on HBO Max. This
despite
was just
being basically done.
But this was just one of the few that was in a process. It was in a point of development where it was easier to sell than just completely scrap.
They were at least willing to let it shop itself around. So they went and sold themselves to Amazon,
which is more than Wile E. Coyote versus Acme.
Right.
It's like,
or
dude, I don't care if someone
whatever.
has a half-finished version of that movie. Like, leak it, babe. I want to see it real bad.
Batman
But no-
Caped Crusader over on Amazon Prime is definitely not to be confused with the 1988 video game Batman the Caped Crusader or the 2016 animated film Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. No, Batman Caped Crusader is an American animated television series based on the DC Comics character Batman. The series was developed by Bruce Timm, produced by Bad Robot, that's J.J. Abrams' group,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other folks.
Matt Reeves had a hand in it, right?
Yeah, and Ed Brubaker, Rucka, I think, also wrote on it.
Man, everyone who's had like a hand in like a who's the name, the go-to for Batman.
Yeah,
right?
or at least cool crime comics, either way.
Sure.
It premiered on August 1st on Amazon Prime, and it offers a noir-inspired reimagining of the Batman mythos, focusing on a young Bruce Wayne during the early stages of his crime-fighting career. You might even say his year one
Yeah.
of Gotham City, drawing inspiration from the Batman stories of the 40s and 60s. It's got Hamish Linklater as the voice of the titular character, and the series explores themes of corruption and crime in a stylized period setting. Critics have praised it for its mature tone and complex portrayal of the superhero, setting it apart from previous adaptations of Batman
And what they mean by previous is they mean the Batman the Animated Series, which
Right, because
this
like
is...
we've seen Dark Batman, we've seen Detective Batman, we've
So
seen Rainy Batman.
So what's interesting about the Cape Crusader is the fact that it is indeed a full reboot of the character. It is not a continuation of the 90s cartoon.
Not at all.
Which makes sense because the 90s cartoon did continue into Justice League.
Right.
And then Justice League Unlimited, and then Batman Beyond. Those were all
Technically in continuity with
in the
Kevin
same
Conroy.
universe.
Yeah.
So you could tell a story in that same universe, but like it's not like that story was never continued. I think even like some of the movies they made, like Justice League and the Fatal Five, was in that universe as well. And I don't know. For me, I can see why Bruce Timm had spent a lot of time in that universe. He got to make like 6 seasons of the animated series. He had a hand in a lot of the Justice League stuff. So it's not like he didn't get a chance to do those characters. I can see why he might be interested in doing a full remake and like taking a mulligan on some of these characters.
Yeah, it's my understanding that this was supposed to just be the 90s cartoon again. And Bruce Timm flat out didn't want to do that.
Right.
And so the compromise was Tim would come back, but let me do any idea that we had that for a different direction to go with the character that we didn't do last time or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if these are things they decided against in the 90s and he got to do now or just new ideas on it.
I think it would be probably a bit of both, you know?
But the style itself, like when I say the style, the character designs are very much Bruce Timm's drawing style.
Yes.
Even though the costumes might be different, the face might be different, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is very much Bruce Timm, and that makes an indelible, constant comparison happen between this and the 90s cartoon.
It might be the biggest mistake of the show,
right,
is the fact that it should be drawn in a different art style.
I can't believe I'm saying that. I was so excited for this show, which is also part of what made this a little bit disappointing for me. It doesn't feel like the camera quite moves the same. I think they're going for more of an Alfred Hitchcock Presents noir vibe, but it makes it not as energetic in the way the camera moves. When we went back and watched some of the 90s cartoon after, it just doesn't feel quite as fun.
I'm going to say that that's a generous interpretation that you're giving it. My hypothesis is this is the cheapest way to do it.
I think you're probably right.
It's cheap. It's cheaper to not move the camera like through a blimp shot following Man-Bat as Batman hangs on the other side,
right,
or watching Joker come up in the mirror. Having watched a couple of the didn't mention the Diaries. I knew I was going to mention it here, but watched a couple of the preview of the Batman the Animated Series, and the camera work is more dynamic, more cinematic. It's more evocative of the Tim Burton Batman films, and the lighting and in shading of it is what really makes that world sing.
Yeah, you pointed out really early on that, especially in the first couple of episodes, that whether you're inside an office or out on the street or in the Batcave, the lighting all kind of looks similar.
The Batcave is lit the same as GCPD. How the fuck? Like, I honestly, Alfred should be bitching the entire time and just falling over himself. Like, can we turn on one light in here, Master Bruce?
I think you mean Pennyworth.
Yeah, well, for me, that would be, it wouldn't fix everything, because honestly, I think there's some story stuff going on here too that I don't quite agree with, but for me, it would be the real leap forward I would need to keep visually interested.
Yeah.
Because it's shot in a way that I don't feel like, man, like you were saying, even black and white or sepia tone would be a more interesting choice.
We went and watched, after watching a few of these, actually right after I'd finished them.
Yeah.
Because we watched these separate. We were a little bit worried that, like, you and I both didn't like X-Men 97, and we were very out of step with the general public on it. But we watched that together, with the exception of like one episode, I think. And we were a little bit worried that, like, did we egg each other? Do we not like it and build on each other?
Right.
So we watched these very separately. And both kind of came to the same, like, so I'm having to make myself go finish these. Yeah, me too. What the fuck? This was a show I was really looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was
and we went and
bored.
watched that 75th anniversary or whatever it was.
Special, yeah.
Little short where he just lands on Hugo Strange's island with
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah. And it's all in sepia tone and shit. And it's dynamic and fun and badass.
Great stuff.
And then I went back and I'm looking at these Crusader episodes, and it's so often it's animated like the fucking 60s Star Trek thing. It's like it's just two heads standing there.
Yeah, and
talking.
the backgrounds are static. Like you can almost tell what's about. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode when you could see the trap because its cell is
different
shaded
color.
in a different. Like,
so often, like the backgrounds, if they have any people drawn in them, the people are static. And
Gotham,
I feel like we're missing a whole layer of shadow or shading or cell.
Gotham feels empty.
Yeah.
And cold, like not lived in. Like it's so weird that the whole premise of the story is that Gotham is the grittiest, dirtiest, fucked up place. But whenever you see it, it's immaculate and almost sterile, like a hospital. Like there's no people in the streets. There's no one in the hallways, but bare minimum. Whoever, like whenever they show the public defenders, like, or the courtroom stuff, there's barely anyone in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Like, because it would cost money to animate more people. Like
I'm criticizing it because I was so excited about it. Is part of the reason that this is, and like everything we talk about on here, it's going to sound like we wholesale fucking hated it. I'm just disappointed that I didn't love it more. And I can't believe that
I'm closer on the side of hate than
you. The jarring side of it for me is that I think I needed this in a completely different art style. Its constant reminder of the 90s cartoon didn't help it at any point for me.
Here's where we are going to differ, though, because you said some of the story decisions really worked for you, and I'm here to say that the lighting and stuff would have helped.
Wouldn't have fixed the thing,
but wouldn't have fixed what for me. The storylines are pretty basic and not as interesting as what did one reviewer we were sawing it said it's smarter than the 90s cartoon but less interesting.
Yeah, and I'll give it that.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because the Penguin is female in this. That's all I have to say about that, because that's really all.
That's all they say about that.
That's really all they say about it. And I'm like, and if that was the only thing, that'd be fine. Like but all of them are kind of like that. Like
I like them. I know Randy did not initially like them making Harvey Dent kind of a
sleazebag politician.
Douche. Yeah. But that came around in a way that got him to where Randy needed him to be.
Right.
I actually liked them kind of taking a swing on Harvey not being the Boy Scout of Boy Scouts.
Well,
and him being he's a politician. He's still got morals and ethics. Like,
it leaves him to the point at the end of the series where he actually stands up for what's right for once and does the not politically advantageous thing, the right thing, the full right thing for the first time in what must be, I don't know,
because now he's not a complex gray character. He's split.
Yes.
And I kind of dug that of like, no, man, Harvey before, kind of wanted to cheat, but, didn't always. And
didn't listen to the.
I like where Bullock was like, no, man, I know from corrupt, and that dude's not really corrupt. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, he's shadier than you want him to be, but he's not. Come on. But at the end, it kind of made sense to me that, like, oh, crap, you were a guy that was gray area maybe, and now it's 100% one direction or 100% the other.
Yeah, black and white.
Yeah.
Which they do in one episode that doesn't deal with him, like this black and white morality that Gordon apparently has, even though that doesn't really make sense when he works in Gotham. He is like, oh, well, criminals should be punished when he knows he works with corrupt cops all fucking day.
Right.
And
well,
Barbara Gordon,
to the point that when Barbara calls him out of like, Dad, so we're all being shot at in this house and we don't know who we can call on your entire police force because you don't know who's corrupt. That's how bad this is.
Well, and then Barbara Gordon being public defender is kind of interesting as far as in opposition to her dad.
Right.
And that
kind of like, that's interesting. But, and I don't mind them putting Montoya ahead. Like they really center Montoya more than Gordon.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm cool with that. I like Montoya and give her something to do. Like they make her a cool character, and a little bit they deal with the she's a good cop. Gordon wants to put her in charge of things, but there is still some feminism, sexism issues here.
Yeah, apparently. For most of the series, it never comes up.
No, it's really only Bullock and Flass.
Yeah,
that won't take orders from her. And honestly, they're so corrupt. I mean, they are so corrupt in this that they won't take orders from anybody. So it doesn't
really register.
Is the department sexist and corrupt, or is it
well,
just these dudes?
We don't meet any other cops.
No, we
Like,
don't.
there's
Oh man, it kills me still that Barbara knows and Batman knows that Harley and Harleen are like that. Harleen Quinzel is a villain and is the one brainwashing all these kidnapped millionaires in one
Right.
episode. And Montoya's already kissed her and is standing there getting stood up on a date as we speak.
Mhm.
And we never touch on it again in the show. So I'm just left to think that hopefully off camera somewhere,
someone told her
maybe
about it.
Barbara said, hey, if that one really good date and steamy kiss you had comes back into town, you need to call a cop.
Well,
Because otherwise, man, she's going to take a phone call from Harley.
Keeping some of these episodic is, interesting and probably the right move as far as.
But it's also not a wholesale episodic show. Like, we really grow across the.
Yeah.
Like, Bruce learns to not be a complete psychotic 12-year-old to Alfred all the time.
Yeah, well, that to me, that was the most interesting thing, was Batman being portrayed as just deeply one-sided in his motivation, like just singularly focused and destroying.
He decided to become Batman at 12 years old, and he really hasn't taken the mask off since.
The moments there's like every other episode
cool.
seems like, oh, I actually made things worse.
Right. I also, in terms of like things that I did, like I like that Batman Year One style like is not perfect at this. Like, he's not the world's greatest detective. He's the only guy in Gotham willing to look into any of it.
Yeah, like he's the only guy that
just crazy enough to look into any of this shit. Yeah.
Right.
Also, when he takes a fucking plank to the back of the head or whatever, like, he's down. Like, there's a lot of, hey man, I don't know who else you need to go study with, but you're not indestructible. And like, very few Batman comics get that vibe across without somehow also making him seem really weak. But that was okay for me here, of like, no man, there's a couple of times where I know you want to be gruff and think everybody in Gotham is corrupt and everything, but I hope that this year is showing you that you need Alfred, you need Barbara, you need you need somebody from the Gordon family, for fuck's sake.
It feels weird to say Bruce Timm because he's the one that made Harley Quinn.
Right.
Like, Harley Quinn is a fully whole cloth from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they switched her into the comics after that. But this version of him is like, okay, I can see what you're doing here, that she's a little more silly when she's but not even that, because no one's really having fun.
No.
During this.
Yeah.
But she's dead serious as Harley Quinn. And I'm like, okay, I can sort of see that. That's like the Joker who doesn't laugh.
Right. Her Harley Quinn character with the jester costume is dead serious.
Yeah, the Joker who doesn't smile
right.
version, which is a version I also hate. But I was like, well, why make a less interesting version of the character you created? I mean, obviously he thinks it's interesting.
No, but I can't believe, of all the people involved in this team, the person I wish that they'd not brought back in is Bruce. I mean, it's Bruce Timm.
Right. No,
I would have rather seen this be some black and white inky Spider-Verse kind of like, try something experimental, something else. Because I don't mind them trying slow noir Perry Mason thing, but by making it look like the 90s cartoon, you inevitably compare yourself to it, and in my opinion, it's jarringly weird next to it.
Well, their Catwoman is, in my opinion, just a distinctively kind of worse version of Catwoman. Like, it's funny because she's a spoiled heiress,
but down and out, she's broke now.
Like, she's not a character that, like, I don't care if we ever bring this version of her back again.
No, and she she hasn't paid her pennyworth in like 6 months or something like that. And so this is where I got really annoyed when we went and looked up, like, man, this is just mad. I'm not really wanting to finish it. It's kind of hurting my soul. Am I dead inside? Like, I want to be excited about this, and I feel like, do I just not like things anymore? It bummed me out to think about her talk. Like, every time we'd watch another, like, I'd watch another one and be like, well, I saw the onomatopoeia episode.
It's cool that they do onomatopoeia,
but I feel like I'm dying. Like, what?
But also, they don't do anything with him.
Yeah, like, what am I want to be more excited about this, and I'm just not.
They're not even deep. The original show would at least dive into the psychology of it and have Batman, like, use the psychology to, like, if I hit him in the throat and he can't make a sound, he won't know what to do, and it'll disable him. I feel like that would happen in the 90s show, and they would think that that's kind of obvious, and like, we want to do have the dumb talk about morality in that episode with Gordon and Barbara, which I'm going to tell you right now is a more juvenile and not adult. Like, you're having two characters in Gotham talking about black and white justice, which he cannot believe in because he's the fucking commissioner in Gotham City.
Right.
Like, you have to be willing to bend in order to get shit done. And the gray morality that Barbara is arguing, when she doesn't, but later she bitches at Harvey for doing the same thing she's talking about and working in the gray area. That episode doesn't make sense in the rest of the continuity. Those two people oppose, like, should have the opposite views.
Yeah.
But also the Firefly is just a lame kind of weirdo. Firebug, right? Because they don't want to call him Firefly, but it's Firefly.
Yeah.
And he's just a lame weirdo.
And we see, oh man, Bullock is so genuinely corrupt. Like, is it cool in a cop show to have two corrupt cops and one of them think he's in charge and not realize that his buddy has been running him?
Yeah.
And then have one of your villains, like, you know, have somebody else point it out. Like that. Is that cool? Sure.
It should be Batman using the psychology, like Batman not using his detective skills in a way that really.
Right.
This Batman is dumb.
No, he's
dumb.
He should have died in Harley Quinn should have killed him in his first year in the costume in this show. If Barbara Gordon hadn't snuck in there and disobeyed him and stayed, like, Bats would be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that cell he was in would have fallen in, like, with him still in it and unconscious, would have fallen into the water.
Right.
And that shit happens like 3 times to him, I think, or 2 or 3 times to him, where he gets knocked out and somebody else has to basically drag him away.
Right.
Or thank God he wakes up in time and runs off.
Yeah. I'm not saying he can't, lose or get hurt or whatever, but I prefer my Batman to use his wits to get out of
the 2 things that bugged me most total in the show. So there is something I did like about it. Amish Linklater's voice really worked for me in a way that I kept forgetting that it isn't
Kevin Conroy.
And he's not doing a Kevin Conroy impersonation. He really got Batman to me. I like Linklater as an actor, but I'm talking, I couldn't see the dude. I couldn't picture him while he's doing the Batman voice. It's fucking great.
You talking about the end where they parallel Two-Face.
Right.
There's a moment where he's talking to Harvey when he's trying to struggle. Like,
he's sitting there as Bruce talking to his friend Harvey.
When all of a sudden, he's like,
grow a conscious now, Dan.
Grow a conscious now, Dan. And it's the Batman voice.
And stuff like that is
that's cool.
Like you have Bruce. Well, you have a guy with the 2 personalities here. You have Batman pretending to be Bruce Wayne, and you've got Harvey Dent and Two-Face sitting there. And it's cool to realize that. Similar in the Catwoman episode, there's a cool moment where Selina is talking about how she and Bruce are similar, and he's like, "No, my parents died, and yours went to jail for tax fraud." Well, it's not exactly the same. But then later on, you realize, like, that's a cool parallel. Catwoman also thinks that she's being like Batman,
right,
by putting a mask on and doing her thing. And like, man, we're not the same.
She thinks, oh, we're the flip side of the same coin, Bats. No. Harvey's way closer here.
And so stuff like that is really interesting to me. But man, this show plays its card close to its chest on any of that. Like, you're really having to look to, like, I think they did something subtle there.
It's almost too cute and too subtle, if at all.
They also almost very few of the cold opens really work for me. There's a lot of times where I'm like, do you feel like that's a button line? Because
they don't.
It just goes off into the music. Like, they didn't make a solid point. It just goes to the music.
Well, if it was an original 90s, they would just stop an earlier part of the crime or watch the villain start his crime and then before Batman. And really, this one is just
some people.
It starts somewhere. Like, it's got to. Hey, the credits have to come in somewhere. Is basically what it feels like.
And then a thing happens.
I really liked the Clayface episode.
Yes,
I thought Clayface.
They make him a Boris Karloff. I think he's Basil Karlo.
Basil Karlo.
Who really hates being this, like, villain character in every movie because he's the Edward G. Robinson, the ugly mug, and everything.
So at the end, that again, not Batman, the chick, the actress, shit talks him into, like, fucking up his plan. It's like, I just don't believe you, man. Feels like you're using this makeup to really put a lot in a place of character. It's like, I'm evil. I'm like I'm a fucking supervillain now. Meh. I mean,
that episode gave me a little bit like that was my first episode. This is second or third.
well, they fight with the fencing
Mhm.
things, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And my also thing here, and I haven't seen anyone talk about this. The fight scenes are boring. They are snooze. The animation cannot go but only a certain speed because of the art design on how it goes. Whenever they do go too fast, it starts to look like Archer, and I start to laugh.
There's a couple of things where he dove off of a ladder or jumped off of a fire escape where I was like, that's cool, but yeah, for the most part, the fights didn't really grab me.
Well, there's a certain point I'm like, oh, why isn't he like coming out of the shadows? Oh, because of the lighting, there's no shadows.
Yeah.
This is the most brightly lit Gotham I've ever seen.
They go to the docks in one of the last few episodes, and there's a whole lot of like fog and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's one of the most visually, like one of the best visual episodes for me out of this. The only other episode so the Clayface episode was cool because it gave me a hope that we did have a Gotham that might get a little weird, and that we weren't doing some 1604 like nobody has real powers kind of thing. Because the Clayface thing is fucking weird. I mean, they give him a facial treatment that then like he could shove his face around. I'm like, all right, this is Gotham. I love this. This is good. Please do more weird. The best episode for me is because it's spooky, it's atmospheric, it's the closest to trying to push the lighting and backgrounds into something creepy. It full on breaks this is entirely going to be about Batman stopping mobsters. Like, I'm sorry, of all the spinoffs from the Matt Reeves one, I don't want to see Colin Farrell in a fat suit and a hook nose. That's the boringest thing you could do in Gotham to me is just
more crime stuff.
I don't want to just see crime stuff. I want to see weird Batman villains. So seeing Gentleman Ghost was cool. And I loved it being a thing that for the first half of the episode, Batman is like, no, ghosts aren't real.
Fucking ghosts aren't real.
And then finally in the middle of it, like, fine, Pennyworth.
Okay, so if ghosts were
Let's
real,
consider if ghosts were real.
How would I stop one?
And he has to go to Papa Midnight, and that dude is just scary.
Man, when Gentleman Ghost, like, no, don't leave me with him.
You don't know which, and I love that he gets to echo his line to Lucius of when Lucius like, yeah, that discretionary fund that you've got, I don't want to know what you use that for, do I? No, you don't.
Well,
and
so
like, well, hey, Papa Midnight, what are you going to do with that ghost? You don't want to know that. No, I don't.
Also, like, his Lucius Fox isn't his tech guy.
No,
he's
his
this lawyer/investor,
business manager. Yeah,
the
kind of running the company while he's a playboy and a vigilante.
The only other thing I like is that, and this feels like the Matt Reeves influence, is that Batman in this series, and I feel like should be going throughout all series going forward, is very fuck cops.
Yeah,
and that's only going to make more sense as time goes on. Like,
no, I kind of love that like this is a rich guy that like if he could solve this by funding the Gotham Police Department, he would.
Right.
But that money
just
would
giving
just
money
go towards
Thorpe or whatever his name is.
Whatever, yeah.
Honestly, good for them for not using Falcone again. Like, Falcone is the one they use whenever they use a actual gangster in Gotham.
Yeah. So John DiMaggio is Harvey Bullock. That's great. It's really Amish Linklater is the voice actor that crushed it for me.
Minnie Driver is the Penguin.
Yeah.
Paul Scheer are her kids. I liked his performance as their kids.
Dietrich Bader does a great job as Harvey.
I think he does a great Harvey Dent. I really do.
I did not. Cedric Yarborough is Rupert Thorne.
None of this is voice cast or whatever. Like, all of this is, for me, it's the technical side of things, and I don't know.
Yeah, because we had. You got Haley Joel Osment. You got David Krumholtz, Christina Ricci as Catwoman. I don't, honestly, with this cast, I don't feel like we did enough with these people.
Well, what I don't understand is that we are kind of in the minority. People are really digging this.
We are absolutely in the minority.
But I'm like, can you honestly say to me that this, because people are saying like finally an adult version of the 90s cartoon or something. And I'm like, are you seriously telling me that anything in this season affected you the same way as, say, when Mr. Freeze first shows up in the animated series, and his episode rules, and it's emotionally affecting as far as like showing his backstory, and it's like, yes, sad, isn't it? I would weep I any more tears left to shed. And it's like fucking Shakespearean level shit. The baby doll episode where she's out to go get her previous cast because she can't age, and looking at the funhouse mirror of herself to see a grown woman and breaking down and crying, and that's how Batman catches her at the end.
Yeah.
Him in Justice League Unlimited, where he goes with Ace to like that epilogue episode where he spends time with Ace until she dies. This feels more adult, less mature to me. I think that the 90s cartoon was delved into deeper themes and in a way that was engaging and emotionally effective. And this is dealing in concepts of morality and philosophy in a way that is cold and Nolan-esque.
Yeah. Every time I sat down to this, I could feel myself do that. Like, no, it's good. It's good because it's a Batman cartoon. I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
That apologist vibe of like, but no, I wanted to be excited about. I was excited about this, and I honestly, the world kind of sucks sometimes, and I don't want to take an L on this. Can it please be good?
I was more invested in this than X-Men 97. So this hurts more, even though I think this is better than X-Men 97.
The writing is better than X-Men 97 for me by a long way.
Well, yeah, X-Men 97 is again another minority, but it's X-Men 97 is a trash fire of like.
I hated the lines in that, and this one has some cool lines.
He can only be called Sinister,
but
Shut up, Beast. And at least this one didn't chicken out on the gay kiss.
Yeah, Though I mean, for 3 episodes, they're the only 2 characters in purple, or in lavender, so I assume they were going to kiss at some point. They were color coded.
Yeah,
they wear the same blazer all the time. It's weird, but I did see where Randy. They have a reporter that runs up during the firebug when the building's on fire, I think, and says something to somebody, and it's not Knox from Burton's Batman. And
boo.
And Randy was like, "Fuck you! I will not stand for this Knox erasure. Where is Knox?
Where is Knox?"
But I will give him credit that it's not Knox, but it is Eel O'Brien. That photographer is Plastic Man.
All right,
but that's the level of like that's like the Easter egg.
I also saw Lois Lane's original design in there as well.
Yeah, she's listed. I saw a lot of people thinking that Anton Knight in the Natalia Nocturna episode
oh yeah
was a Starman thing, and I think they're nodding to it with the Tesla coil looking shit on stage,
maybe.
But Anton Knight in IGHD is not the same character as Ted Knight or any of the Starman, Jack Knight, or any like. It's a different character. Nocturna's a different character and not connected to Starman as far as I know.
I don't think so.
So it's not as cool as
I
would love to have had a Starman reference, but I don't think we
are getting into Justice Society, and I don't know them as well.
Right. Overall,
I don't know. Yeah, my soul has died.
Yeah, I left a piece of me back there with that show. I don't know if we got a season 2 or where it'll be. I hope Amish Linklater gets to play Batman more.
Yeah,
but maybe not in this show.
Yeah. I mean, you can check it out for yourself. It's on Freevee even. Like, it's not even on Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free. Like, I checked it out on, like, sometimes I'll just see on Freevee, like, that has its own separate channel to see what's on there.
I'm sure commercials will make it better. This jarring burst of color and energy.
Honestly, like, that when I knew the death knell was when they showed the Joker at the end. And I knew...
Even the Joker isn't having fun in this show.
I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, I want to see Joker also not have fun here. And seeing that and being, not only was I not excited, I was dreading it. And I was like, oh, that's not the vibe I want to get.
Because it looks like we're going to do the exact same kind of Harley deal, but like the Joker's making everyone be a laugh. But
God forbid anyone...
finally ready.
God forbid anyone have fun being a villain in Gotham.
Like, not in this show. Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I don't know. I wish I saw what all these other people saw. I don't
if we're dead wrong, please write us a short novel explaining why. And I will still not agree with you, but I'd love to see it.
I feel like history has proven me right on other things that everyone loved. Like, I think we all agreed, I thought we all agreed that Gladiator was a bad movie, but then again, we made a sequel to it.
Right. No, I was definitely in the minority there, but, I discover these things sometimes. Like, oh, hey, we all love that, right? No, that was terrible. I'll be over here.
But then again, like, we haven't, like, no one's acknowledged that the Baywatch movie is actually pretty good, or that the Chucky franchise is the best horror franchise in the world.
Yes, or the Planet of the Apes is the best politically charged sci-fi franchise.
So maybe we will never be vindicated on this, and we have to be fine with that.
But we have definitely made our opinion known, I think, here, and that probably is going to wrap it up for us this week. You can tune in next week. We're going to discuss a little bit of this and a little bit of that over on Netflix with the returns of Umbrella Academy and a catch up on the recent Cobra Kai.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we'll see who's the worst on Umbrella Academy this season. Who do you think it'll be, Nick?
I can't believe I'm excited for Umbrella Academy because those motherfuckers are going to have more fun than Batman did.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah,
those sad sack motherfuckers are gonna. At least there's an opportunity for a dance battle. Like. Rumor's not in this season, is she?
I don't know. I can't remember how it ended. I hated last season so much.
Rumor died in the last one, but that doesn't guarantee.
Man.
Like, there's a new timeline, so it doesn't guarantee it.
I bet she's there. But until next time.